Hollow Knight, the beloved indie masterpiece from Team Cherry. Since its first release back in February of 2017, it has sold 30 million copies, and across everyone who has played it, there has been one nearly unanimous conclusion.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Hollow Knight is amazing, and it is my favorite video game. But my real favorite game is Dungeons & Dragons, a game I have been playing for, oh my god, 10 years? When did that happen? Well, the cold unfeeling ever onward march of time aside, I love both of these games. I just wish I could play them at the same time. But what kind of nerd would have the free time and the desire to write a full 6-page, in-depth guide to a homebrew Hollow Knight class, designed to perfectly match the aesthetic and writing style of the 2014 Player's Handbook with imported sprite art from the original game? I would. I am that nerd. Intro noises, I am Rose Knight. Let's go through the Hollow Knight class. To start with, we're going to be going through the lore section of the class, to see how it fits in with the rest of the D&D multiverse. This section can also help inspire your characters' backstories. But if all you're interested in is the mechanics of how to play the class, then you can skip to this timestamp. But for everyone else, the Hollow Knight. Outnumbered, surrounded, wounded and abandoned, a dwarf man lowers his sword and closes his eyes. But just as his assailants close in for the kill, the dwarf starts to glow with a white-hot energy. In the next moment, his strength is renewed, without a scratch on him. The dwarf smirks and raises his sword back up, ready for round 2. An elven woman looks to her exhausted party around her, and back again to the vampire lord. She meets his eye without fear or regret, and summons the last of her soul reserves. The souls of the very vampire spawn meant to protect their master, now being used to destroy him. The room fills with an intangible, inky blackness. Seconds go by before the darkness finally fades, revealing the winner of the battle, standing tall, and the loser reduced to mist. That could be you. That could be you right now. Send this video to your DM so this can be you. They're not busy. Make them watch this video. Okay, moving on. Born of God and Void. There are times when gods, angels, archfey, and even fiends come to the material plane to mingle among the people who live there. It is uncommon, but not too unheard of, to find a being whose lineage can be tracked to such a higher plane. But what is truly rare and unheard of is when a union between higher beings and mortals result in a child that is born in the Shadowfell. A Hollow Knight is the result of such a child, possessing a uniquely powerful soul from their ancestors that would naturally be destined for greatness. However, through plotting or happenstance, their uniquely powerful soul has been corrupted and made into pure darkness, become that of the Shadowfell, like many of its other denizens. As a descendant of higher beings, a Hollow Knight can take a piece of soul from a living creature, and as a void soul from the Shadowfell, that same Hollow Knight can transform the souls it's harvested into living energy, both to heal itself and to harm others. Hollow Knights often find themselves thrust into adventure from a young age, either through the machinations of higher powers, or simply acting on the power they were born with, attempting to make a difference in the world. Some seek greater understanding of the dark force that corrupts them. Some move with the goal of cleansing their cursed soul to remove the Shadowfell's inky grip on them, and others see this power as a birthright that empowers them to achieve greater goals than most. In any case, Hollow Knights find they are most useful on the front lines, able to stand with any barbarian or paladin, not by wearing the heaviest armor or having the largest health pool, but instead by being light and nimble, avoiding attacks altogether and healing the damage that's endured. When creating your Hollow Knight character, think about your character's lineage. What type of higher being resulted in the birth of your character, and how does that affect your character's view of the world? Does your powerful ancestor play an active role in your life, or are you unaware of them? Talk to your DM about your character's story, and decide how big of an impact you want your upbringing to have. For example, were you born and raised in the Shadowfell, slowly corrupted by its power? Were you perhaps empowered by a dark spell or cursed artifact later in life? Or are the origins of your powers a greater mystery to unravel over the course of the campaign? So that was all of the lore for the Hollow Knight class. I hope that gets some of your creativity started, because now it is time to create your character sheet. And to do that, let's talk about roles for a second. The role I intended for this class is going to be Defender, or in other words, the tank. For every punch to the face you take, that is one less punch the wizard has to deal with. So good job, keep it up. Now most defenders, like fighters, barbarians, and paladins, have a secondary role as an attacker. They deal as much damage as possible to a single target. But the Hollow Knight isn't like that. The Hollow Knight is built different. Your secondary role is going to be Blaster. In other words, your job is to deal area of effect damage across the battlefield, and take out as many grunts as possible so that the party doesn't get overwhelmed. The subclass you choose at level 3 will determine how well you fit into either of these two roles. I wanted to follow the same rate of progression as the video game as closely as possible, but my main goals were to enhance a fun and balanced experience, while focusing on the abilities that would reinforce the roles I mentioned earlier. And to that end, some of these class features might feel out of order or designed differently than they were in the video game. Just know that I did my best to maintain the intention of each ability, even if they do look or feel a bit different. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. Quick build. You can make a Hollow Knight quickly by following these suggestions. First, Dexterity should be your highest ability score, followed by Intelligence. Second, choose the Sage background. Class features. As a Hollow Knight, you gain the following class features. Hit points. You'll be using a D8 for this class. I know this seems kinda low for a tank, but trust me, the rest of your class features are going to more than make up for it. Proficiencies. You get light armor and shields. You're proficient in all melee weapons. You get proficiency in cartographer's tools. Your saving throws are dexterity and intelligence. And you can choose 2 skills from the following: athletics, acrobatics, arcana, history, investigation, perception, religion, and survival. Starting equipment. You start with the following equipment in addition to the equipment granted by your background. You get leather armor and a wooden shield. You can choose between a long sword, a short sword, or any simple weapon. And you also get either an explorer's pack or a dungeoneer's pack. Now for the core feature of this class. Soul casting. In the Hollow Knight video game, you start with 3 core abilities. 2 of those abilities are attacking to gather soul, and healing to spend that soul. An incredibly fun method of play that inherently promotes fighting on the front lines aggressively, and a mechanic that doesn't exist in D&D yet to my knowledge. But what about that mysterious third ability you start with in the video game? Well, that ability is so overpowered that I had to save it for level 20. You'll see what I mean when we get there. Soul focusing. The power of your soul comes from your focus. You use your intelligence whenever a Hollow Knight spell refers to your spellcasting ability. Your spell save DC is 8 plus your proficiency plus your intelligence. Your spell attack modifier is just proficiency plus intelligence. Soul King. Through soul manipulation, you can take a small piece of soul from those you hit with a melee attack. Every successful melee attack against a creature of CR 1/4 or higher grants you 1 soul charge up to a maximum of 9. You can expend your soul charges by focusing your soul to create unique and powerful spells. This ability does not work on creatures without souls, such as constructs or undead that are created through magic and are otherwise inanimate. As you level up, the maximum number of soul charges you can hold will go up by 3, at 6th, 11th, and 16th level. Quick Focus. By focusing your soul, you can cast a spell to heal your wounds. As a bonus action, you can spend 3 soul charges to heal yourself 1d6 plus your spellcasting modifier. This spell increases by 1d6 when you reach 5th, 11th, and 17th level. Those are all of the abilities you get to start with at level 1. And I know there are a lot of changes between the class and the video game, but trust me, there are some good reasons for those changes. Those reasons being balance and fun. For example, the King Soul feature. Why did I limit the soul charge ability to creatures of CR 1/4 and higher? Whereas in the Hollow Knight game, you can get soul from nearly anything, be it a god or a newborn. Simple. You people are psychopaths, willing to do anything if it means optimizing your characters. Okay, maybe not all of you, but I know at least one of you out there was just imagining how you could go out into the forest and decimate the local squirrel and deer populations, just to charge up your soul. Well, I won't allow it. It wouldn't be fair to your DMs or your fellow players if you could just top off your health and soul between each fight. And hey, DMs, if it still becomes an issue, you can always rule that they aren't allowed to get soul unless they're in combat. But what about the quick focus feature? In the original game, the basic focus ability allows the knight to heal, but at the cost of leaving yourself vulnerable to an attack. So why did I make it a bonus action instead of an action? That's because using your action to heal sucks. Imagine you spent the last 3 turns charging your soul for a spell. You took some damage in that time, so you decide to heal yourself. If you spend your action to heal yourself, then that's it. There really isn't much else you can do for that round. So you spend the next 5 to 20 minutes waiting for your next turn. And if you're damaged again, it undoes your heal, only this time you have no soul left to get those hit points back, leaving you sad and alone, crying in the corner while your friends do cool stuff on their turns, and that attractive person that you like is laughing at you. Is that what you want?
Disclaimer, there is no shame if that is what you want.
Moving on to level 2. Vengeful Spirit. At 2nd level, you can now start to gather the angry souls of those you've attacked and fire them out as a condensed ball of energy. As an action, you can spend 3 soul charges to make a ranged spell attack against any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. On a successful hit, the Vengeful Spirit deals 1d8 force damage. This damage increases by 1d8 when you reach 5th level, 11th level, and 17th level. Wow, what a garbage ability. I think we can all agree that I nerfed the Vengeful Spirit pretty heavily here. I mean, it's basically a cantrip that you need to charge up. But before you all go to the comments rioting, please listen. The reason I did that is to make sure the class didn't rely too heavily on spells. This is still a melee class primarily. I can't have the Hollow Knight be good at everything, otherwise, what's the rest of the party supposed to do? All this does is it gives the Hollow Knight a ranged option. And besides, it's not like this is your only ability you get at level 2. Dash Master. At 2nd level, as a reaction, you can attempt to avoid an oncoming attack. When targeted by a melee attack, you can give disadvantage to the attack roll by dashing out of the way. If the attack misses, then you gain 5 feet of movement that you will immediately spend. If you can't move 5 feet in any direction, then you cannot use the Dash Master ability. You must be able to see the source of the attack to use this ability. You do not provoke attacks of opportunity while using the Dash Master ability. This is an insane ability. Avoiding attacks while also repositioning? Honestly, this might be a little broken at level 2. Think about it. If your enemy doesn't have any movement left, there is a chance for you to negate follow-up attacks altogether. Level 3. Focus. At 3rd level, you can choose where to place your focus. This will guide your growth as you learn to control your soul. Choose between the focus of the Nail Master or the focus of the Snail Shaman. Both are detailed at the end of the class description. Your choice grants you features at 3rd level and again at 7th, 11th, 15th, and 18th. And we'll be going over each subclass feature at the end of the video. Ability Score Improvement. If you've played D&D before, you probably already know what this is, so we're just gonna skip past it. Extra Attack. Beginning at 5th level, you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Desolate Dive. At 5th level, you can start to focus your gathered soul into one point within yourself, until it suddenly and powerfully erupts from you, devastating everyone near you and pushing them away. As an action, you can spend 3 soul charges to unleash a Desolate Dive attack. Everyone within a 10-foot radius sphere centered on you must make its strength saving throw. On a failure, a creature takes 2d10 force damage. If they are large or smaller, they are pushed 5 feet away and are knocked prone. On a successful save, they take half the damage and are not pushed back or knocked prone. This damage increases by 1d10 when you reach 11th and 17th level. Okay, so I just want to say that I'm very proud of the Desolate Dive feature. I knew that it would be impossible to grant invincibility frames in D&D like the video game counterpart, but I think knocking enemies away and prone is a good interpretation of that. Dream Nail. At 6th level, you can forge a weapon out of pure soul to strike creatures and read their inner selves. As an attack action, you can make a melee attack against a creature using your Dream Nail. On a hit, you deal no damage, but instead you gain 3 soul charges, and your target must make an intelligence saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, you can choose to learn the surface thoughts of the creature you struck. You can also choose to learn one ability modifier or saving throw modifier of your choice. The Dream Nail must be a melee weapon with a range of 5 feet. The Dream Nail uses your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier to hit. This ability can be used on dead creatures so long as they have been dead for less than 1 hour. Using this ability on a dead creature does not grant any soul charges. And finally, you can only gain soul charges from a Dream Nail during combat. Okay, so I think I covered everything to make this not totally broken, while also adding in some fun utility for the class. And just so we're clear, the only part of this that doesn't work outside of combat is soul generation. Howling Wraiths. At 9th level, you've learned to pour your negative emotions into the souls of those you fought, causing them to scream out and attack the life force of any creature near you. As an action, you can spend 3 soul charges to unleash Howling Wraiths on everyone within a 10-foot radius centered on you. All creatures within that range must make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failure, a creature takes 2d12 necrotic damage. On a successful save, they take half damage. This increases by 1d12 necrotic damage when you reach 11th and 17th level. Howling Wraiths was the final spell, not including subclass stuff. I wanted to make sure that each spell had different saving throws and use cases. Vengeful Spirit has the highest range, and it has a dex save. Desolate Dive has the ability to push creatures, and it has a strength save. And now we have Howling Wraiths, with the highest amount of damage and a con save. You can go ahead and praise me in the comments below. Steady Body. At 10th level, you've learned to anchor your body using your soul, making you impervious to being moved against your will or falling prone. You also learn to coat your body in a thin layer of soul, allowing you to resist corrosive substances. You gain immunity to the prone and grappled conditions, and you cannot be shoved or otherwise moved against your will. And you gain immunity to acid damage. I'm gonna be honest here. Level 10 was the hardest one to write for some reason. In the first draft, I originally wrote that you would get the Mantis Claw, Crystal Dash, and Yzma's Tear. These abilities just felt random and off-theme for this class. I kept Yzma's Tear around and added in the Steady Body charm, or at least the spirit of the charm. What do you think? Does it fit with what I'm going for? I just wanted to get your opinion on that one. We can move on now. Shadow Dash. Starting at 13th level, you can no longer see a difference between your body and soul. As such, you're able to swap the two between this plane and the astral plane freely, for moments at a time. From now on, when you use the Dash Master ability to avoid an attack, on a hit you will take 0 damage from all non-magical attacks, and half damage from everything else. If you're targeted by a non-magical attack, it cannot stop your 5 feet of movement. As an action, you can use your Shadow Dash to pass through small holes and narrow openings for up to 5 feet of movement. If you end your dash in a space that's too small for your body, you are expelled back out and take 50 points of bludgeoning damage. If expelled, you fall prone in an unoccupied space closest to where you first entered. Yeah, Shadow Dash. I think that this is going to be a really fun ability to play with. I almost didn't add the phase through cracks in the walls bit, but I am so glad I did. It's so cool. And as to where that came from, it's a reference to these shadow wall things in the original game. Monarch Wings. At 14th level, you have learned to project 2 spiritual wings that allow you to fly. As an action, you can focus your soul into the shape of 2 great wings that give you a fly speed of 40 feet. Your soul can hold this form for 1 hour before reverting back to its original. You can use this ability in amount equal to your intelligence modifier per long rest. Flying. A player's favorite ability, and the Dungeon Master's bane. I could have easily made this feature an improved jump ability. In the same way, you can easily leave this video without liking and subscribing. But we won't do those things for the same reasons, because it'd be pretty lame if we did. Oh, before we move on to the next page, I just want to mention this because I'm pretty sure no one is going to notice this. You see the precept I chose for this image? Precept 11, Mothers will always betray you. This precept explains itself. Zote the Mighty. I think that this precept is really funny, but I left a little Easter egg here for you. If you zoom into the period at the end of the sentence, you'll notice it looks a bit off. That's because I replaced it with a super compressed sprite of the White Lady. I just thought this was really funny and wanted to share that with you. But yeah, moving on. Awoken Dream Nail. At 17th level, your Dream Nail weapon becomes awoken, and can read the hearts and minds of those you strike with far greater detail. From now on, when creatures fail their saving throw, instead of choosing to learn a single modifier, You can choose to learn the creature's maximum health, the creature's AC, which saving throws it's proficient in, which ability checks it's proficient in, or you can delve deeper into its mind and read its inner thoughts. This ability can now be used on dead creatures no matter how long they've been dead. I basically just gave you an infinite Speak with Dead ability. Abuse it. Trust me, your DMs will thank you, since it gives them an excuse to lore dump on you constantly. And finally, the level 20 feature, Fury of the Fallen. At 20th level, when your body fails, your soul will fight on. If you are reduced to 0 hit points, you no longer fall unconscious. Instead, your soul leaves your prone body behind and continues to fight on your behalf. In soul form, you gain a fly speed of 30 feet and cannot move further than 60 feet away from your body. You retain all non-magical items, plus any items you are attuned with, as they are projected onto your soul form, and you retain all of the same abilities and conditions you had before going unconscious. Any healing to your soul will stabilize your body without restoring any hit points. While in this form, you gain these damage immunities: cold, necrotic, and poison. While in this form, you also gain these condition immunities: charmed, exhausted, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, and restrained. You do not lose hit points when your soul is attacked. For each occurrence of damage you would have taken, you instead roll a death saving throw with advantage, even if your body has already been stabilized. After 3 accumulated death save failures, your body will die, and your soul will vanish. This happens even if you're stabilized before failing 3 death saves. During your turn, you can spend an action to instantly return to your body and become unconscious. If your body gains hit points while in this form, your soul will instantly return to your conscious body. Oh, I love the name of this ability. It goes really hard. I know that the charm has nothing to do with this. This ability is based off of the Shade Soul ability in the original game, your respawn mechanic. It's so good. And those are all of the main class features. But wait, there's more. We still have the subclass features to go over. But before we get to that, it's time for this video's Small Creator Shoutout. For the uninitiated, I do shoutouts to small creators every time I make an edited video. As a small creator myself, I know how hard it is to find your audience, and that's why this video goes out to RavenQuill, a D&D inspired artist that draws tons of cool monsters, maps, and characters. He is an incredibly talented artist, and you absolutely need to go check out his stuff. And I'm not just saying all of this. I loved his artwork so much that I actually had this art piece that you've been seeing throughout the entire video commissioned by RavenQuill for my channels. I haven't seen it yet. This is gonna be a live reaction. Dude! That's sick. I love like the regal flower pot and the leaf cloak. Ah, it's so good. I can't wait to see what the final piece looks like, because obviously this is just a rough draft for me to give notes on. No notes, by the way. RavenQuill, if you're watching, you killed it. Oh my god. If you want to commission RavenQuill for your own artwork, head on over to his website. Links are in the description. And if you go there right now, you can find a stat block for a Warsteel Golem hidden at the bottom of the front page that you can download completely free. Because this guy isn't just a talented artist, he's just an insanely good writer too. Oh my god, he's so talented. If you want an art commission, or a pre-made pinup, or a monster stat block, or a freaking pre-written one-shot adventure book, are you kidding me? Dude, this guy does everything. Go check out his website. Or if you're interested in seeing him make his art, go check out his YouTube channel. Leave lots of likes and comments while you're there and tell him that Rose Knight sent you. All the links are in the description. And if you have anyone you want me to shout out in a future video, head on over to my Discord. Post their info in the small creator shoutout section. I'll check them out, and if I like what I see, I'll shout them out in a future video. But with all that being said, on with the show. Let's talk about the subclasses. The focus of the Nail Master. Following in the footsteps of the great Nail Masters, through the power of your soul, you're able to push past your physical limits, and with the perfect union of soul and body, you can overcome any obstacle. At 3rd level, you start by getting medium armor proficiency, and you get to choose a fighting style. Totally original, I know. But you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Moving on to actually original features, Boulder's Shell. At 7th level, your time on the front lines has improved your healing prowess greatly, to the point that you're able to reinforce your freshly healed body and make it more resilient. After using your bonus action on Quick Focus, your AC increases by 2 until the start of your next turn. So a super fun and useful ability that heals you and prevents you from getting hurt again. Quick Slash. At 11th level, you can attack 3 times every time you take the attack action. Nailmaster's Glory. At 15th level, you've learned the techniques of the 3 great Nailmasters. Starting with Great Slash. After intense training, you've learned to enhance your strength with the power of your soul for a single swing of your weapon. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon melee attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 2d8 force damage to the target. Dash Slash. Your quick reflexes have become so fast that you are now able to attack while dodging. When using the Dash Master ability, if your 5 feet of movement places you within melee range of a creature, you can make 1 melee attack against it. Cyclone Slash. Through your soul-enhanced movement, you have become unstoppably fast. You're able to swing your weapon at several opponents before they can even react. Once per short or long rest, as an attack action, you can make a single melee attack against every creature you can see within melee range. I'm very proud of how I adapted these 3 skills for D&D, because I designed it in a way where each of them is situationally different, so you'll always have a use case for each of them. Unlike the original game, where I almost never use Dash Slash over Great Slash. Deep Focus. At 18th level, your understanding of body and soul has become near perfect. You can now heal far greater than before at the cost of doing nothing else. When you spend your bonus action using Quick Focus, you can choose to use your action to double the healing you would get. You can choose to use Deep Focus after rolling your Quick Focus healing dice. You know, I'm just now realizing, while editing this, the Nailmaster subclass is more of a healing charm build than a nail charm build. I'm not gonna go back and change that now, but in the future I might add new subclasses to this, or just turn each charm into their own feat so people can customize however they want. I don't know, let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in something like that. Focus of the Snail Shaman. A Snail Shaman's path to power is through the mastery of the soul that dwells within, and unleashing it in the form of powerful spells. As you choose to walk the Shaman's path, you learn to manipulate your soul and the souls of others with far greater ferocity. Whether they love or fear you, even the Pantheons will know your name. So remember how I said I didn't want the spells to be too powerful since this is a melee class? Yeah, no, that was a lie. This subclass just goes full spellcaster with just a little bit of melee. That's why the first ability you get is Shaman Stone. At 3rd level, you craft an ancient and powerful artifact that will help channel and focus your soul abilities. Your spells now deal more damage. Vengeful Spirit now deals an additional 1d8 force damage. Desolate Dive deals an additional 1d10 force damage, and Howling Wraiths deals an additional 1d12 necrotic damage. I know that some of you might think that 1 extra damage die might not seem like a lot, but trust me, that is going to add up fast. Dream Wielder. At 7th level, wielding your soul weapon has become second nature, allowing you to weave in an extra dream nail swing after making an attack. If you use the attack action to make a melee attack, you can use your bonus action to make a single dream weapon attack against the same target. Since your spells are going to be way more powerful, I added this ability to keep up with your increased spellcasting, but I also didn't want to turn the character into a dream nail, spell, repeats, loop every turn. So that's why you still have to attack normally to use the dream nail as a bonus action. It also means that if you miss an attack, you can still try to get soul before your turn ends. Sharp Shadow. At 11th level, you have mastered the Shadowfell that has granted you your great powers over soul, and by learning to draw on it, you are able to enhance your powers further. When you spend an action to cast a soul spell, you can choose to infuse the spell with the power of the Shadowfell, adding your intelligence modifier to the spell's damage, and further modifying the effects of the spells as shown below. Shade Soul. Vengeful Spirit becomes tainted with an inky darkness, allowing it to rip through multiple targets in one shot. Shade Soul acts as a 5-foot wide line spell attack that goes out to 30 feet. Each creature in your line of attack must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be hit. Descending Dark. Desolate Dive envelops all near you in shadow, granting you far greater control over who it hits. You can now choose to allow Descending Dark to pass through your allies as a harmless shadow. Abyss Shriek. Howling Wraiths draws on the negative emotions of the Shadowfell, greatly increasing the size of the spell and leaving a dark scar on the world. Abyss Shriek's range increases from 10 feet to a 15-foot radius sphere centered on you, and leaves a magical darkness until the start of your next turn. I think these optional spell upgrades will make moment-to-moment combat way more interesting. Like deciding if you want a line spell attack on a big group of enemies versus if you want to potentially crit on something. Or deciding if you want to increase your damage and fill a room with darkness, but losing your dash ability since that requires sight. And that's not even mentioning how these spells might affect your party. I just think this is really interesting. Soul Catcher. At 15th level, your ability to manipulate the souls of others has greatly improved, allowing you to draw more soul out of your enemies when you strike them. You gain 2 soul charges every time you successfully land a melee attack. You know, I almost made it so the 3 attack spells cost 2 instead of 3 soul charges, but I think accumulating more soul feels more fun. Plus now it's just easier to heal too. Glowing Womb. At 19th level, your mastery over soul has become near perfect, to the point where you can create familiars out of excess soul that can act and fight independently of you. If you have any soul charges at the end of your turn, you can choose to use one of them to create a soul familiar. Your soul familiar will float around you, shedding dim light for up to 10 feet if not given any instructions. While in combat, your soul familiar will take its turn after yours. On its turn, it will follow any instructions you have given. You can have a maximum of 4 soul familiars at a time. Soul familiar stat block. I wrote a whole monster stat block for this. Oh my god. What is wrong with me? Soul familiar. Tiny undead. Unaligned. Has an armor class of 17. Hit points 1, speed 0, fly speed 40, strength of 1, dexterity of 24, constitution of 1, intelligence of 5, wisdom 10, and charisma 5. This thing can't really do a lot, but it does have a few damage immunities. Cold, necrotic, and poison, as well as a few condition immunities, those being charmed, exhausted, frightened, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, and restrained. It can see in the dark up to 60 feet, and it has a passive perception of 10. It can understand the same languages as its summoner, but it cannot speak. For you DMs out there that want to throw these at your party, it has a challenge rating of 0, so it's worth 10 experience points each. They have ethereal sight, so it can see 60 feet into the ethereal plane when it is on the material plane, and vice versa. It has incorporeal movement. It can move through other creatures and non-magical objects as if they were difficult terrain. It takes 1d10 force damage if it ends its turn inside of an object, though, so it will instantly die if it ever gets stuck in something. This thing has exactly one unique action: self-destruct. The Soul Familiar can self-destruct, dealing damage to every creature within 5 feet of it, including itself. Each creature must make a DC 17 dexterity saving throw. On a failure, they take 2d6 force damage, and half as much on a successful save. What a cursed little creature. I hope you enjoyed exploring my Hollow Knight class. I worked very hard on it, as I'm sure you can tell. You can play it absolutely free by downloading the file from my Kofi page. Links to that in the description. If you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing to the channel, where we will continue to make cool and interesting D&D stat blocks from my favorite media. Join me next time where I will be making monster stats for all of the bad guys from Helldivers 2. But until next time, outro noises.